What's up, everybody? Cookie here, along with Swanee, once again with another Star Wars Battlefront 2 podcast. This time, we shift our focus to the other part of the new update. We already talked about all the cosmetics and all the new customization stuff. Now let's talk about the new game mode, which has gotten a fairly mixed response, I would say, in general, from the community, and that would be Ewok Hunt. So we're going to give you our 2 cents now that we've played it a bit and tell you what we think of it. So, Swanee, let me know here. What do you think of Ewok Hunt? Just the base game itself, not taking into account the fact that maybe we missed out on other things to get it, but just on the base game itself, is it fun to play?
Oh, well, yes. As initial thoughts, just surprisingly, this game mode is pretty enjoyable. Now, it's not perfect, but I definitely like it. Like, I like how it's in pitch black, and you're stuck in first person, and you have your flashlight, and it kind of gives it a horror game type of feel, kind of like Slender Man or something, and I think it just feels pretty cool. And it's neat because, like, you're just walking around in the forest, or say you get lost from your teammates and you're just off on your own, and then an Ewok freaking sneaks up on you. Like, it can be pretty interesting at times, and I think it's pretty fun to play with friends too.
Yeah, I'll give them credit for coming up with a game mode that actually, I think, took some creativity. Because, I mean, the only other game mode we've gotten that was new was Jetpack Cargo, and it was kind of fun, but it wasn't like a super creative game mode. It was just throw the rocket troopers all together and have them go to 2 objectives. You know, it wasn't a very creative game mode. I'll give them credit. This is very different. This is definitely different than everything else you play in the game. It definitely is a change of form. So on that part of it, as a game mode itself, it is pretty fun. And I think a lot of people generally think it's a fairly fun game mode. The split then comes in the idea of, is it worth it? And because now we don't know exactly how long they've been working on this game mode. We have no real way of knowing that. But assuming they are obviously working on this instead of other things, I think is what is hurting this game mode above all else. Because the game mode itself, I think mostly the consensus is it's fun. It's just, it's just not what people were asking for.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the problem with it. Like, it sucks that it's a fun game mode, but at the same time, like, that we could have gotten more blasters, or more star cards, or more heroes, or new maps, or all kinds of other stuff. Like, people keep defending those sucky skins because they're like, well, they had to focus on the progression system. That's why the skins are bad. Well, if they were working so hard on the progression system, I mean, they obviously remastered this map from the last game and gave us freaking playable Ewoks. That had to take some time, too. But, yeah, the point is, no one asked for this. Like, there was a few people when the game came out asking for, like, the old hunt modes from the last Battlefront game. But, I mean, they need to add this kind of stuff to the game, but the problem is the order that they do it in. Like, give us the major stuff that we're asking for first, and then sprinkle in, like, Ewok Hunt. But, like, so if you give us all this stuff first, it just seems lazy, and, like, you just aren't listening to anyone. That's the major problem.
Their timing is just very weird. Like, I don't understand the timeline with Battlefront, because by it seems like they're going against the grain of common sense. It's like, even just imagine if they added a game mode, okay, that wasn't necessarily what people were asking for, but did have to do with Clone Wars, and it was just a unique game mode that involved droids and clones. That would make a big difference, and that's not even what people have really been asking for.
Oh yeah,
but
there's
it's at
tons
least
of stuff they
closer to what they've been asking
or
for.
even if
what
they
I think
did,
is kind of weird,
like,
is
say
that
it was the same premise of Ewok Hunt,
that they
but
keep
it was like
doing these
Gungans
random
and
things
droids.
from time to time. That just
I think
doesn't
that would
make
get
sense.
people excited.
Yeah, if it had clones and droids, I think it would make a huge difference. And it's just, no one was asking for Ewoks. But you're right, the Ewoks, this had to take them a lot of time. I remember people had said, why wasn't General Grievous out at the very beginning? And at the time, I'd heard an excuse that, he's just so different and he would take a lot more work and design. Well, so did the Ewoks, because Ewoks are nothing like the normal the normal troopers, they're totally different. They have a whole another skill
Well,
set.
Ewoks were
and
in
they
the
look
game.
different.
They were just
Yeah, they were in the game, but they weren't like playable, and there
they
had
have
to be
abilities
a decent amount of work there.
yeah, they had to like program it and yeah, but I see what you're saying. But let's go back to the gameplay aspect of it. I do think it's fun, but there's a lot of downtime in this game mode. Like the first 5 minutes, you could just absolutely nothing can happen. You can just walk around aimlessly and not see a single Ewok.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they need to do some better balancing, like maybe give the Ewoks four or three Ewoks at start instead of 2. Because, like, say you have the start of the match and one of the Ewoks gets selected and he's just not even there. He's just AFK. So then you have one Ewok versus 16 stormtroopers.
Yeah. It's
So-
an odd design.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you come up with these like random pitfalls in the game where you either will be just not doing anything or it could get kind of boring. Plus, I don't know if Ewok Hunt is going to have longevity. Like, I don't know if this is going to keep people's interest for a long period of time, because there's a lot of talk because it's originally supposed to be a limited game mode, but there's a chance it could be, it could actually get in the game, is what I've been hearing.
Yeah,
And
a lot of
that's what
people want
Dennis
it to
had
be in the
tweeted
game.
out. I don't know if it's going to have longevity, though. Like, is this going to keep people's interest over a long period of time? Because I feel like
I
it would
don't
get
think
pretty
so.
repetitive pretty fast. Like, it's a fun
Yeah.
change of pace, but I don't think this is something that is going to make sense as a part of the game, necessarily.
Yeah, well, what they could do is if they made, like, they brought back Jetpack Cargo and Ewok Hunt and made all these, like, side game modes their own playlist. That way you just pick the playlist and then you get stuck rotating between these side game modes. That way they don't have Jetpack Cargo and Ewok Hunt as their own separate things. Because the more game modes you have, the more it divides the community, and more people are going to be playing Ewok Hunt. Some will be playing Heroes versus Villains. Some will be playing Galactic Assault. So if they just have one playlist dedicated to all these extra game modes that they're adding, kind of like a party playlist type deal, I think that would work out.
The problem with that would be that, like, because some of those game modes are just so different. Because Ewok Hunt is way different than Jetpack Cargo. So I feel like, some
and a lot of people
would
wouldn't
be
wanna
kind
play
of
Jetpack
pissed because
Cargo.
they'd be like, they might be like, I'm just looking for that kind of Ewok Hunt experience. And Jetpack Cargo is almost the complete opposite. Instead of, like, going slow and, progressing slowly, Jetpack Cargo is just complete chaos. So I get what you're saying, because you don't want to split up the player base, but at the same time, I think it would piss off a lot of people. I think that I just, again, it's not the game mode's fault in itself. I kind of had the same thing with Jetpack Cargo. Like, it was kind of fun, it was different, it was interesting. But this is just not what people are looking for. I don't understand why they're giving this stuff. I just don't get it. Like, it's not good PR. It doesn't make any sense. It's just like, this stuff is fun and would have been great way down the road, way after we got a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, this
Like,
is stuff
I
to,
don't
like,
understand their
prolong the
strategy
game
here.
after we already get what we want. They're doing the opposite. Now they're trying to prolong the game and not give us what we want. Like, I bet you we don't get good Clone Wars stuff until the very end lifespan of this game. Because that's what it's looking like.
Which makes no sense.
No,
It's a
it
terrible
doesn't.
strategy.
Maybe they're afraid that once we get Clone Wars, people will stop playing. So with this strategy, they're like, well, let's drag it out as long as possible. And then once we get Clone Wars, then we'll end the game.
Not really, because they still haven't, like, explicitly said we're getting Clone Wars. That hasn't even been a thing.
Well, they just said that they're
they've
working on
explicitly said it's going to happen. They're working on everything.
That's true.
Like, it's like they have said we're working on it to any question anyone's ever asked. Like, they've given us no real explicit thing that Clone Wars is happening. We assume it is, because they'd be insane not to. But
well, yeah, you say that,
been pretty
but we also
insane so
said they'd be
far.
insane to do this and to do that and then to do this, and then they end up doing it. So
I just, like, I don't get the strategy here. What are they going for? Like, who are they trying to attract with the Ewok Hunt game mode? Even though it's fun, what are they trying to get out of this? Is it trying to get the kid angle? Because at the same time, it's a weird element because it's like really kiddie because it's got the Ewoks, but it's also kind of horror-y because because of the setup, like the Slender type setup of it. So it's like a weird mix of two completely different genres. But like, what are they trying to do with this game mode? I just don't understand the strategy at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But I mean, luckily the game mode's at least fun. Imagine if it didn't, like if it wasn't fun, because I mean that would be another bomb on their part. But I mean, yeah, it definitely needs some tweaking though. Like this was originally from I think Halo, or Halo was at least one of the originators with the infection. You'd have like a flood person running around, and they would, but it was kind of more balanced because the match would start and then the flood, because like if they hit you, you would get one-shotted and you just die. The problem with the Ewoks is it takes like 4 or 5 hits with a spear. So, I mean, it works out in the later part of the round because you have like 5 or 6 Ewoks versus like 3 or 4 stormtroopers. But the first 5 minutes, like if no stormtroopers sneak off on their own, or if they all go into the cave, like the cave's a pretty big camping spot. Like every match I'm in, everyone runs into the cave.
The cave is kind of broken for this. Like that shouldn't be there. Or if there is a cave, it should be pitch dark. Like there's too much light in those caves. It kind of ruins the whole idea of like you can't see anything. If everybody's out in the forest, I think it would be much more interesting because I mean when I'm a stormtrooper, I just go straight to the cave because then I can see. And it's not there's not as much suspense to it in that cave.
Well, there's a cave entrance at the top that Ewoks can sneak into, but that doesn't even work because if you just go to the entrance of the cave and you have like 4 guard the entrance and then 4 of them guard the inside of the cave, then you can just camp there until the end of the match and then sprint clear to the ship. Like I've only played in one match where the Ewoks have actually won. Like 90% of the time, the stormtroopers win because, like, if the stormtroopers are sprinting, the Ewoks can't catch up to him. So you can just be the last man standing and just run nonstop, and just make it to the ship and escape.
Yeah, it's got its failures in it, but I do think in general, especially if they do make little upgrades to it, it's a good game mode. It's a doomed game mode. All this stuff is kind of doomed because it's not what people are wanting. It's the stupidest way to do this. Like I keep trying to figure out, and I feel like we've been doing this since like back in December, trying to figure out what the strategy is here. Like what are they doing? Because they have obviously a ton of people available for it. They are not giving up on this game. They've shown no signs that they're like throwing it in the trash. But the moves they make, it just baffles me. It's like, what are you?
Yeah, some
doing?
stuff are just so. Like when you think about it, from a player's perspective, you're like, wow, if they did this, it would make the game so much better. And they just don't even do simple things. Like here's an example. Yeah. How about on indoor, you have the Ewoks as a reinforcement instead of nothing but Wookiees. Like you just make them cost like 500
especially
points.
Now,
Yeah, make them be like 500 points. That way people would pick Ewoks all the time. And make the limit, instead of like, I don't know, 2 or 3, I think the limit's 3 Wookiees. Or I think it depends on how deep into the match you are. Set the limit to like 4 Ewoks. That way you can have 4 Ewoks running around at once.
Like, I was playing the game earlier today, and I was thinking to myself, like, even these really, really small, kind of crappy changes, like the skins, which I'm not a fan of, even seeing a couple aliens running around with you and some differentiation and some customization, and then playing the same old maps, it still feels good. It's still kind of cool. It's still new and fresh. And that's really crappy stuff. They gave us some good stuff. How much more fun this game would be.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, they feel like they did the hard stuff. They did the stuff that, makes or breaks a game, and then they can't do the easy stuff. Like it's like, good job. You gave us some good maps, you gave us some good gameplay style. Now do the easy stuff now and just keep the game alive. And they seem clueless. It's almost like they're trying to screw things up sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just the strangest thing. I cannot get their strategy. I've been trying for months,
Ewok
but I
Hunt
don't get it.
appeals more to like the current player base. Like I've seen other YouTubers, like I watch The Know and I watch Boogie and I watch just a bunch of other YouTube channels. And anytime they report news, like they have news channels and they do news updates and stuff, they're like, "Oh, Battlefront had a new update to this week. They added skins and they added Ewok mode." Like every video I've seen that's reporting on this is like talking down on Ewok Hunt. They're like, "Well, I thought they're supposed to be fixing the game, not giving us Ewoks," because it's generally known that Ewoks are a pretty big joke. Like a lot of people didn't like the end of episode 6 because it ended with an Ewok party.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're funny and they're cute, but they're
the
not.
Ewoks
like,
were the original Gungans.
Yeah. Gungans. We used to have a Gungan hunt. That'd be
Yeah, a
interesting.
Gungan hunt would at least add something Clone Wars.
Yeah, they can't. I almost said they can't go wrong. There's so many things they could do that would make people happy. This was just not one of them. This was not what people were looking for the mass majority. And what's even stranger to me is that they added Ewok Hunt, and it's something that doesn't appeal. Like you said, it doesn't appeal to people who aren't playing the game at all. It barely appeals to most people who are playing the game. But you want to bring new people in with that? That's a terrible idea. It's a cool, interesting game mode, but this is just not the time. The timing is terrible. And I just don't... Again, I don't know what they're trying to do. I'd be really interested to find out.
Like, there's so many
It doesn't
things
help that they're
they,
not communicating
like,
with anybody.
okay, imagine if we didn't get Ewok Hunt and then we just got, like, 20 better skins or, like, Clone Wars skins or something.
That would be...
Or
It would be better press for them. It's better PR. It's better advertising for them. Why do they not want to do that? It's like this is not just something that's good for us. This is good for them. That's what I don't understand. This is
especially with the
super advantageous
microtransactions
to
tied
them.
into it. If they would have given like 20
this is their chance to make
new
money.
skins, if they would have had like a full list of skins instead of Ewok Hunt, and like legendary skins that were like 80,000 credits and they looked badass, like a battle damaged Vader or something, instead of Ewok Hunt, they could have made a bunch of money because people would have been dropping money. I would support that. I would consider buying a really cool skin because I'd be like, wow, you guys put in the effort. You gave us a cool skin. This is something neat. I want to support the game. But Ewok Hunt doesn't, there's no microtransactions tied in with that. And then we got the crap skins that we got. I mean, like, we don't think Ewok Hunt's a bad mode. It's fun. It's just, it wasn't necessary. And they could have added it in later to, like, prolong the life of the game instead of just giving it to us before everything else that we've been asking for. That's the major problem here.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time they've done this either. Like I said, Jetpack Cargo is very similar. They're like, why are we getting this game mode? It's kind of fun, but I don't see the point of this. And even the progression system to an extent was like, yeah, and it did. And then the progression system is like, well, it's good that we have this, but it's not really what we were all asking for here. It's like, it's just this constant, like, it's as if they don't understand the player base at all. But we know that they've heard what we've said. Not us personally, but the community in general. We know they're hearing this. I can't contemplate why they're reacting the way they are. But all that to say, it's a fun game mode. It just doesn't fit. It's just bad timing.
Fun game mode.
It kind of dooms the game mode.
They can do some tweaks to it to make it better. Like we said, maybe fix the cave, add more Ewoks at the beginning, or maybe even make the Ewoks a little bit stronger because currently the Stormtroopers win most of the matches I've played it in. I've played probably about 20 so matches or more, and I've only, like I said, only had one match where the Ewoks actually won. So I think after some balancing, this could be a good game mode, and they'll probably end up keeping it, but I think it probably won't be as bad as Jetpack Cargo because I think people find this more fun, but it will eventually...
It's more creative, yeah.
Yeah, it'll die off because, like I said, like, we don't have any content. It'll probably hold us off until Solo, but then after that, I don't see it lasting much longer.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Solo. That's the next big thing. So, yeah, It's interesting, but guys, let us know in those comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you think Ewok Hunt is fun? Do you think it's worth it? And there was a good investment of their time, or should they have invested in something else? Tell us what you guys think. Maybe you guys have an idea of what EA's strategy is here, because I don't know what it is. So let us know in the comments what you guys think. But I'd be very interested to find out. Smash the like button as always. Subscribe. Turn the bell on for notifications. And we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We would be honored if you would join us. You cannot resist